Good evening, YouTube. 7:02 p.m. 7/31/2017. I was kind of putting off doing a screencast today. It's kind of a burnout, actually. And the replies I'm getting are mostly spam. So today I pulled one out and replied to it. It was in the spam folder. And I might put a link to that anyway. But it's about the stepdaughter again today. Can't hardly get 2 minutes without realizing how screwed up my life is. I remember when I was younger, a lot younger, like a teenager, and the slightest little thing would come down the pike at me, and I'm like, oh, my life is ruined, my life is over. Well, okay, at that very moment, it might have seemed like that was the way it was, right? Okay, that was nothing. Whatever it was no biggie. I have these other things open too. Crazy stuff. It's not crazy though, actually. And I posted, the mind has no firewall from the Leavenworth, Army.mil site. See here. fmso.leavenworth.army.mil. And, a couple of interesting things that could be why soldiers are, could be in part why they're committing suicide at such a spasmodic rate, other than what some other people have suggested with the viruses and from the water, etc., and maybe someone's just putting it in their mind, like it's suggested in this article. And yeah, I will leave a link with the same blurb that I put on my G+. Okay? But yeah, it's about, coffee burp, about the step monster again. And why, and I've noticed it for a long time, and I think my dad did too, why, if her dad and I, who she keeps revisiting, and it's not a mental revisitation, it's with the eyes, like, she must have a second sight, and I've had it, and I had it so bad in the 80s that I made myself not have it. Because it was spooky, it was scary, it was horrifying, actually. And I really didn't want to know things that nobody else knew. Because that's a good way to get marked as crazy. Right there. You start knowing stuff that nobody else knows. And suddenly you're a fanatic. You're hallucinating. You're making things up. Possibly for attention. Don't be the only one to know something. Please, people. Know better than that. Know from experience. Knowing something all by yourself, even though knowledge is power, and I guess in my kid-like mind back then when it was more prevalent, I saw me at like the stack of my little social group pyramid. I had this knowledge and they didn't. But what happened was they managed to flip that pyramid over so that I was on the bottom instead of the top. And here all this crap came raining down on me. See what I'm saying? Pile of crap after pile of crap after pile of crap. It went on for decades, okay? I'm 57 now, nearly 58, I think. Born October 24th, 1961. Alright? Okay, so if we're so bad, alright, if he and I were so bad, why doesn't she get under someone else's wing? There's times when she's under his wing. There's times when she's under my wing. There's times she's in the middle. There's times she forces herself on us so that she's the center of attention. And partly she does it just to drive a wedge. Like I had mentioned before, that she had stated that that's what she was told she needed to do by her mother, probably some of the other females up there too at the commune. Put a wedge between them. And at the time I laughed. I'm like, ha ha ha, are you serious? We've already been through so many barrels of crap, and now you think you're going to come along and you're going to be that final blow to the wedge and drive it in there? Well, she got us in one way. That was to put the distance between us. Okay? But hearts live on. We're still communicating. She hadn't severed that yet. She's not going to. We're not going to give her the pleasure of that. To her, that would be pleasure. Okay, so back to why does she tend to find comfort or feel comfortable under his or my wing? And by that, I kind of mean like she's cuddled up. See what I'm saying? It's a non-physical thing, but it's a comfort zone thing. If we're so horrible, why does she do that? Why doesn't she get the same comforting from someone who's not what she said we are? She said that I was abusive. Okay, and keep in mind, this is the same person that from where she said day one, rape number 1 began, and it was 2 or 3 times a day, all the way through to nearly 2 years, with intermittence of being at school, being up north visiting, being with my parents at church on campouts, out to dinner, or her dad and I being gone out for coffee in the evening, or off shopping. And when we shopped, it was big time shopping because we liked to put some on the shelves that he and I had built under the stairs. Simple wood shelves under the basement stairs for backup food supply, because us in the vehicles was so off and on at that point. We didn't get a reliable vehicle, which was our van, until 93, when the kids got there. But we had been so off and on with the vehicles prior to that, that I guess we were thinking, what if this thing goes out and we don't have the money available at the very moment to get it fixed? What are we going to do? Well, we'll just go down to the basement, and grab up, 2 or 3 different things and wing it, right? So yeah, we put a lot of stuff away. Not an extreme amount. I've seen a lot bigger food stashes or caches, whichever. Just enough that it would get us through a good couple of weeks easy, without having to go to the store. Even powdered milk, in case we ran out of, half gallons and whatever. Of whole milk, or 2%. I like 2%. Because, I just do. For one thing, it'll last longer without all the cream to spoil. And if it's, if you've got a thunder and lightning storm, don't go opening the refrigerator and stand there with it open, because that heat will help spoil stuff faster, especially milk. But anyhow, she has a mother-in-law. She has other family. She could get under their wing, especially her husband. Why is there no other comfort? Why does she have to come to us to feel comfort? And she hides stuff from people. I noticed today, and I'm rather psychic sometimes. Only sometimes. It's not my occupation. I don't get paid for it. I'm not that great. Okay? My life has been too disrupted to become anything much of greatness, okay? I'm a very feet on the floor kind of person, who has several different things that I've built on in experience, a little at a time. Not anything earth-shattering or, anything, much of anything, I'm just, I don't know, I want to say average, but it's more like probably below average. So, but I'd like for her to go somewhere else. I think she needs to get it in her head. Someone needs to sit down and talk to her and tell her, look, stop getting in your dad's and Veronica's bubble. Stop it. You said they were this, that, and the other thing. Why don't you act like they're this, that, and the other thing, and stop getting in their bubble? Avoid their bubble. Avoid looking at their bubble. Avoid having anything to do at all with their bubble. Instead of making like, oh, it's a bubble. Bubbles are a nice place to be. And gets in there. Gets under our wing, so to speak. Am I coming off like a crazy person? Because if that's crazy, then my dad was crazy. And I'll post a link. When he stated that when my mom and her went up to Colombia that time to pick my dad up after his surgery, she still wanted to ride in the front seat. But my mom suggested that my dad would be better off in the front seat since he just had surgery. And she got mad. She displayed her anger. I'm not sure how and what way it came out, but my mom said that. And then Dad said he could feel her eyes hating him in the back of his head all the way home, which is like 68 miles from Columbia to Sedalia. Not counting how many miles from the city limit over to whatever hospital it was. I have no idea. Okay? 68 to 70-ish miles. That she hated him. Just for being in the seat that she wanted to be in. Is that not berserk? That is so berserk. I might have to come back to this because I rattle. Okay? See you soon.